I never found peace, but now I'm fighting a war.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Mark Yoon, and today we are going to be talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order for the Nintendo Switch, along with my thoughts on it as a part of the overall series, my likes, dislikes, concerns, and just my overall rating and review of the game. So let's just jump right into it, and we're going to start off with my overall opinion. My overall opinion about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is that it's a pretty solid, fun experience. It definitely is differentiated between its predecessors because of gameplay, stylization, and other choices that were made by Team Ninja, who are the creators of games such as Ninja Gaiden series and Dead or Alive, etc. But it seems they didn't take too many liberties with their own style of game making with this. They pretty much towed the line of how the Marvel Ultimate Alliance series has been flowing from this point. But there are some changes here and there that I found to be annoying, I guess I would say. There's also some good solid aspects. So the gameplay is pretty tight. It's overall similar to what we've seen in the past. There is a new camera angle for, I believe it is called Hero Mode. So if you're playing by yourself, you can change the camera angle to follow you more closely, as opposed to having more of an over-the-top view. So that's a nice little touch. The cel-shaded graphics are amazing. I really like the way it plays. I haven't had too much opportunity to play it in handheld mode. I did give it a try, and I did notice that there were some frame rate drop issues pretty seriously when there's a lot of stuff going on board. And it would look a little, I don't want to say grainy, but foggy at times. But in docked mode on the TV, it looks gorgeous. So I have no complaints when it comes to that. They could up the res a little bit on the handheld, but in handheld you're dealing with a lot of different issues. So I don't want to really fault them too much for that. The story's pretty fun overall. That's half the fun of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, is going through and unlocking all these characters. That's why I tried really hard not to go into too much information before the game came out, trying to find out who was in the game or whatnot, because I wanted to kind of go into it blind to be surprised, and pleasantly surprised I was. There is a DLC Season Pass for $20 that has, I think, 4 characters in each pack. The first one coming out September 30th, which is the Marvel Knights one. It's going to be Moon Knight, Blade, Michael Morbius, the Living Vampire from Spider-Man and Blade and all that, and Punisher. So that's pretty exciting. We're going to be getting those characters. They've also announced free updates such as Loki from day one. You have to unlock him though in the Infinity power-up missions or whatever. There's 4 of those, 4 tiers of those, and at the end of every single one of those, you have an opportunity to unlock a character from that. The first one being Elektra. So I don't want to go too into spoilers. We already know about that. And Colossus and Cyclops are going to be released as a free update DLC characters also. I would like to see Beast, hopefully. Maybe the one dude from the Inhumans. There's a bunch of characters that are NPCs in the game I would like to see. Even Medusa and Black Bolt themselves, but that's neither here nor there. So I don't really have any complaints about that stuff. Let's get into my complaints first. So my complaints that I would really want to hold begrudgingly against the game. The first fact would be that there's no unique dialogue anymore, and that was one of the most fun parts of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, is playing as different characters and going into the hub worlds, or even going on teams of other characters and starting conversations with villains and whatnot, and having unique character dialogue between each unique character. You could be Spider-Man, for example, and talk to one of his villains, and they'll give it back history and joke back and forth and stuff like that. So that was always really cool. There is a way that you can have kind of interpersonal dialogue, I want to say. You hold R2, I believe it is, and it'll give you 4 options, each corresponding to a button, which will give you a character unique talking point, I guess. Venom will say yes, and we are Venom, and blah blah blah. So it's kind of a way to talk amongst your friends, I guess, if you're not on chat. But the really interpersonal like unique dialogue to the characters is something that I definitely missed, because that gave the games like a lot of replayability. But again, it doesn't notch it too much. It's like a little personal thing. What I have more of a actual problem with gameplay wise is that you have no ability for grabs in this game, and there were a ton of unique grabs in the first 2 iterations, and it was fun just grabbing enemies sometimes, pummeling them, or even throwing them off of like tops of buildings and stuff. Man, that would have come in handy on the Avengers Tower with like the Ultron bots. But yeah, so there's no grabbing there. That instead, the A button has been replaced with actions, so opening doors and whatnot. So it's a little disappointing that we don't have those grabs. I'm still happy that they have their unique traversal stuff, like Spider-Man will of course web swing, Venom will web swing. Certain characters such as Iron Man will fly. So that kind of stuff is fun. Usually by double tapping the A button while in the air and holding. So, not the A button, I'm sorry, the X button. So I don't really have problems with those things too much. They're just little nitpicks I guess I have with the game. The difficulty level the first time around does spike, especially in the boss battles, but when you figure out what the gimmicks are and like what the actual do to defeat them, it becomes just another day at the office. And again, it's not another bad thing. I was like loving that we got another Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I didn't think we were ever going to see a 3, so I'm stoked and exceedingly happy that it's doing well, because it's like the top of like Amazon sales charts or whatever. I've been looking forward to this game for a long time, because I still play 1 and 2. I first played them on the Xbox 360, and then I played them on the PlayStation 3, and now I own them on the PlayStation 4, and I still play them. Even after Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I still go back and I play them. It would be nice to have them all consolidated onto one system, but I understand that Nintendo put forth some of the funds to Team Ninja to actually make this game and get it actually made. So of course they were going to make it a system exclusive. And I don't believe it's a time exclusive. I believe it's just going to be on the Nintendo Switch, and that's it. So there's no real problems when it comes to that stuff, because it's all understandable. It is nice to have in portable mode, because, you know, the Switch always comes automatically with 2 controllers. So if you go to a friend's house and he doesn't have a Switch, he or her, then you could always just like pop it off and you guys can play together when you have it kickstand up. Obviously, that's going to be a different scenario when the Switch Mini comes out, because you can't have 2 separate controllers, because the Joy-Cons are literally attached to the unit as one thing. But besides that, like, it's got a great story, it's got a good roster, it's a nice diverse roster cast. There's like diverse meaning there's a lot of series that are represented. It's not like something like Jump Force where you have like 90% of the roster is made up of one sect. It's pretty spread out. I wouldn't say even, because they're still obviously going to be outnumbered by the X people and the Spider-Man's crew, as opposed to, you know, like more Inhumans or whatnot. But again, we are getting multiple DLC packs in this Season Pass. So this is a Season Pass that would actually push for you, because you're getting like 4 characters in each pack. There's 3 packs so far, plus free updates. So it's going to be a lot of more content, and story content, by the way, added to this game in the future. I like that they started off with like the Guardians of the Galaxy in the first mission. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't normally play as them. But they were fun. And it made me want to incorporate them in a couple of my future teams. So the gameplay is pretty tight and pretty solid, as to be expected from Team Ninja, except for like the certain areas that are lacking. There are jump heavy attacks, there's light attacks, heavy attacks, and then you can combo like light, heavy. The coordination with the attacks is, I've seen the word mindless getting thrown around, but it's like kind of par for the course when it comes to this kind of game. They've been doing this style of gameplay since like X-Men Legends, so I don't expect them to change that too much over time. We have to remember Marvel Ultimate Alliance wasn't the first Ultimate Alliance game. There was Legends, and then Age of Apocalypse. There's more to that than just like this series itself. It has more of a history, I want to say. But overall I'm happy with the game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. The story mode's really fun. I just wanted to get this review out after I've already played a majority of the game, so I knew what I was talking about, and I wasn't just throwing empty information out at you. Especially if you have friends. If you have friends that you're playing with this game, especially if you guys are coordinating on certain teams and getting boosts and bonuses. It's definitely going to up your chances of fun, and it's going to make the game a much more enjoyable experience, obviously. Those of you playing by yourself, it is still fun. I've played by myself so far. I played with my wife a little bit, first couple missions, but after that I've been playing by myself, and it's still pretty fun. I've still been able to pick it up and get right into it and not have to worry too much. There are alternate costumes, although I've only unlocked a few because you can only unlock them in the Infinity missions, and so far what I've unlocked just seems like recolors. But again, I've only unlocked a few of them, so I haven't really gotten into the nitty-gritty. I believe each character has at least 2 costumes, and then there's always DLC, so we'll get into that. I mean, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 also only had like limited numbers of costumes for their characters. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 was great with that aspect, because each character would have like 5 costumes or something like that. So, and some of them were like really great stuff, like Spider-Man had Iron Spider-Man, Spider-Man of Steel, like stuff like that. So that's all great. I would definitely, if I'm going to give this game a rating before I get into some of the mechanical stuff, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a perfect game, but it's definitely fun and enjoyable, especially if you can play it in co-op. I would recommend it. It's not a D recommendation. It's the 3rd game in the series, as a part of the series, and even though Team Ninja doesn't actually add their actual Team Ninja flair to the game, and they pretty much go along with what's already been presented before them, I'm familiar with that style of gameplay with this series, and it hasn't deviated too much, and I kind of expected that, and I'm kind of okay with that. That's if they changed it too much, it wouldn't feel like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, to be fair. So there are a couple of game mode variations that you have. You have these rifts that you unlock by playing story mode, which are Infinity Trials, that you don't have to play right then in the story mode. You can actually go back into Infinity Trials and play them later on. This is where you're going to be unlocking your costumes and some additional characters and some other content. Plus, it's the best way to gain experience for your characters, and the fastest way to level them up by getting XP orbs to increase a character maybe you don't play as that often, or that you got a long time ago and want to put on your new team. You want to boost their level to the current level of the mission. That's what your goal is for that. There's ISO 8 makes its return in this game as equipables. So each character has 4 slots for ISO 8 that they unlock as they level up. So for example, you start off with 1, and then when you get to like level 30, you have 3 unlocked. So I'm guessing by 40 you have 4. There's an actually ISO management system now in this game. It's actually next to the hexagons, what we'll talk about in a minute. And the ISO 8 management system, it consists of all the ISO 8 that you've accumulated thus far. It gives you a description of what type they are and what their abilities are. Some of them have better abilities than others. Like some will be like Mastery up 6.8%, and they're upgradable, by the way. Mastery upgradable 6.8%, and then like there will be some that's like, oh, your health is increased by 11%, but your defense is decreased by like 14%. And those ones of the ISO 8, I personally tend to just deconstruct them or save them for leveling up other ISO 8 that I'm actually using. Some of them can't be deconstructed, but it actually tends to leveling up your characters quite more. It gives them more of an umph to them. And the hexagons is like your complete whole team power-ups. So you'll start off with 1, and it'll have like, for example, strength up 50%, and you'll use currency that you've accumulated along with AP to unlock those hexagons, to unlock more hexagons. And once you get I believe it's 5 of them, once you get all 5 hexagons, then you can actually start making your teams more powerful. And so choosing characters that don't necessarily sync as well together just to have fun is an option, because you have them all powered up at the same time with that. The story is kind of what you would expect, but also not. It's just like excuses for characters to you know, team up together. It gives them a lot of like just basic reasons for fighting and teaming up and whatever. And it's good. It's about the Infinity Stones. It's about like Thanos trying to claim them. So there is that Marvel movie tie-in, obviously with Endgame. They wanted to up the popularity of that, which seems to have worked. There's a lot of other nuanced parts of it, so it's not exactly following the movie's storylines. It's more of the comic version, so I would actually check that out. The story is really good. And it's pretty long, too. It's pretty decent. Like, I still am almost finished it, but I haven't quite completed the story yet. There's a lot of characters in this game. There's a lot to choose from. A lot of fun variations to have. And I don't want to keep this going on for too much longer because I don't want to bore you guys with other insignificant details. If there's anything that you want to know in particular in the comment section down below that I didn't discuss in here, feel free to ask me and I will promptly give you an answer if I can. Be sure to check out my friend Rich at Ragaroth. You'll find a link to his channel in the description box down below, as well as everything else that I've talked about today. And if there's anything else that you want, just hit me up. And that's going to be the video for today, guys. Thanks for stopping in. And as always, stay powered up. Peace.
다 달라진 것만 같아